FUPOL, Intelligent Tools for Policy Design.
Welcome. This podcast covers the topic of citizen and stakeholder participation, the advantages and key success factors. It is intended as a short introduction for citizens and other stakeholders, civil servants and decision makers. Participation. What is it? The term participation in social sciences refers to different mechanisms for citizens to express opinions and, ideally, to exert influence regarding political decisions. There are different ways for citizens and stakeholders to participate in the decision-making process. This depends on the political and administrative system of a country. It could be, for example, a committee that is providing recommendations to politicians, or an opinion poll, a referendum addressing all citizens, or a town hall meeting in which citizens can discuss their issues with the administration and politicians. In order to classify the different ways of participation, various systems and methods have been proposed. We will discuss Arnstein's letter in more detail, but this is not the only one. Other letters of participation have been presented by Conner, Wiedemann, Fermers or E.M. Roscher, for example. Arnstein's letter of participation from 1969 is one of the best known. Citizen control appears at the top of the letter with a category of non-participation at the bottom, in which therapy and manipulation are placed. Manipulation relates to activities in which officials and politicians educated, persuaded and advised the citizens, not the other way around. This style of non-participation has been applied to other programs encompassing the poor, for example. Sherry Arnstein mentions structures called neighborhood councils or neighborhood advisory groups in the US. These bodies had no legitimate function or power. They were used to prove that grassroots people were involved in the program, but nobody really listened to them. On the same level is therapy. Common examples of therapy masquerading as citizen participation have been seen in public housing programs, where tenant groups were used as a vehicle to adjust the values and attitudes of tenants rather than discussing their problems such as arbitrary evictions or housing quality. Informing is the next rung of participation. It refers to a one-way flow of information from officials to citizens, with no channel provided for feedback. Consultation means inviting citizen opinions. The most frequent methods used for consulting people are attitude surveys, neighborhood meetings and public hearings. Attitude surveys have become a particular hassle in ghetto neighborhoods. Residents are interviewed several times about their problems and hopes. Arnstein mentions one woman saying, "Nothing ever happens with those stamped questions, except the surveyor gets $3 an hour and my washing doesn't get done on that day." Then there is placation. An example of a placation strategy is to place a few handpicked worthy poor on advisory boards. If they are not accountable to the community and if the traditional power elite holds the majority of votes, then the representatives of the poor can easily be outvoted and they have no real power. In a partnership, power is in fact redistributed through negotiation between citizens and city administration. Decision-making is really shared between citizens and politicians. Delegated power and citizen control are the highest level in which citizens make the decisions and public authorities implement them. It clearly needs some effort to really implement citizen participation. So what are the advantages? If citizens and stakeholders are really involved, there is better public support and acceptance. At the same time, it reduces the risk of rejection by citizen initiatives later on. Decisions are better because the risk of overlooking important details is reduced, and certainly there are more innovative new ideas. Finally, the empowerment of citizens should be a policy goal. Now, what are the key success factors in citizen and stakeholder participation? The first one is a good support and real intention on the political level. All stakeholders should trust the process and they must be sure that they are really being heard. Otherwise, they will lose interest very quickly. Therapy or manipulation should be avoided because stakeholders will quickly find out and it will backfire. They will never trust you again. Information and education is very important. A PR campaign as an accompanying measure will alert stakeholders and ensure a high rate of participation. Apart from a media campaign, this could also include meetings with important stakeholder groups, NGOs, etc. They can be messengers to their members. Information for discussion must be understood by everybody. It should be really easy to understand. Multi-channel to avoid exclusion. Several channels should be used to avoid exclusion of certain groups. This can include electronic channels, eParticipation, but also citizen meetings or a suggestion box. Close the loop. It is important to provide feedback to stakeholders how their input has been taken into account in a decision. This includes, for example, that each opinion or posting should be linked to a political topic, and a summary of all opinions received should be provided. Thank you for listening to our short introduction to participation. You can find more information about our project at www.football.eu and www.facebook.com/football.